The slave market of Carthos. 9 never slept. Bright neon lights flickered above endless rows of cages, platforms, and digital auction boards. Creatures from dozens of star systems stood chained or confined behind energy barriers, each with a price hovering above their heads. Some were warriors. Some were servants. Some were simply unlucky. The smell of metal, ozone, and fear filled the air. Captain Elias Ward hated this place. The human leaned against a rusted railing on the second level of the marketplace, his dark coat hiding the small blaster strapped beneath it. Around him, alien merchants shouted in harsh languages, advertising their merchandise like livestock. Strong miner survived 2 asteroid collapses. Rare healer species regrows organs. Loyal servant. Obedience implant included. Elias clenched his jaw. Humans had only recently joined the galactic community, and many still struggled to understand how slavery could exist on such a massive scale. But here, it was business. He wasn't here to buy anything. At least, that's what he told himself. His cargo ship, the Silent Horizon, was docked nearby, waiting for him to finish a simple fuel trade. Yet somehow, he had wandered into the lower districts of Carthos 9. Maybe curiosity, maybe something else. Then, he heard the auctioneer shout. Last item for the evening. Damaged goods. Discount price. A few bored buyers wandered closer. Elias glanced down at the platform below. And that's when he saw her. She stood alone inside a transparent containment field. Tall, slender, with pale silver skin that shimmered faintly under the lights. Long dark hair fell over her shoulders, partially hiding the strange glowing patterns running along her arms. Her eyes were bright violet, but they were filled with exhaustion. A thin metal collar circled her neck, blinking softly. The auctioneer smacked the side of the platform. Captured on the edge of the nebular belt. Unknown species, but docile. Mild telepathic activity detected. Low combat value. A holographic screen flickered beside her. Price, 500 credits. A merchant in the crowd laughed. 500? For that broken thing? Another voice called out. She's injured. Look at her side. Elias leaned forward. They were right. A deep burn scar ran across her ribs, barely hidden beneath torn fabric. The auctioneer shrugged. She was caught during a raid. Doesn't talk much. Probably useless. But maybe someone wants a pet. The crowd chuckled. The alien girl lowered her head. Elias felt something twist in his chest. He had seen suffering before. War had shown him plenty. But this felt different. The auctioneer raised his hand. Starting bid, 300 credits. Silence. Nobody moved. Someone muttered. Waste of money. The auctioneer rolled his eyes. Fine. 200. Still nothing. The girl didn't even look up. Elias turned away. It wasn't his problem. He had cargo to deliver. Repairs to pay for. A ship barely staying together. Buying a slave would be the dumbest financial decision he could make. He took a step toward the exit. Then, he heard the auctioneer again. All right. Final offer. 100 credits. The crowd laughed again. Practically free. Something inside Elias snapped. He sighed heavily. 100. The entire platform went silent. Heads turned toward the balcony. The auctioneer blinked. A human. Elias raised 2 fingers. 100 credits. That's my bid. The auctioneer grinned widely. Sold. A loud clang echoed as the containment field shut down. The alien girl slowly looked up for the first time. Her violet eyes met Elias's. And for a moment, the noise of the market disappeared. 20 minutes later, Elias walked down a dark corridor behind the auction house. The alien girl followed behind him, her wrists still bound by a loose restraint chain. He stopped beside a small payment terminal and inserted his credit chip. Transaction complete. The collar around her neck beeped softly. Ownership transferred. Elias stared at the screen. The word owner glowed beside his name. He hated how that looked. He turned around. The girl stood quietly, watching him. Up close, she looked even worse. Bruised arms, exhaustion in her eyes, and fear. A lot of fear. Elias sighed. All right, first thing. He reached forward slowly. She flinched. Easy, he said gently. His fingers found the release latch on the restraint chain. Click. The chains fell to the floor. Her eyes widened slightly. He then pointed to the collar. Second thing. He pulled out a small toolkit from his pocket and began working on the collar's access panel. It sparked once, then twice. Finally, snap. The metal ring popped open and fell away. The girl grabbed her neck, breathing slowly. Free. For the first time in who knew how long, Elias stepped back. You're not my slave. She stared at him. Her voice was soft when she spoke. You bought me. Yeah. Why? Elias shrugged. Honestly, I'm still figuring that out. She studied him carefully. Most buyers do not remove the collar. Well, he said, scratching the back of his neck, most buyers aren't human. For the first time, something faint appeared on her face. Not quite a smile, but close. What is your name? She asked. Elias Ward. And you? She hesitated. My name is Lyra. Elias nodded. Well, Lyra, welcome to freedom. Lyra quickly learned that life aboard a human ship was strange. The silent horizon was old. Very old. Pipes rattled in the walls. Lights flickered occasionally. And the navigation system sometimes needed a kick to start. But it was warm. Safe. And nobody chained her to anything. Elias gave her a small cabin near the engine room. Sorry it's not fancy, he said. Lyra looked around the simple room. Clean bed. Small window. Soft light. Her voice was quiet. It's beautiful. Elias blinked. Thanks. Over the next few days, they slowly learned about each other. Lyra came from a distant star system known as Valaris. Her species possessed mild telepathic abilities and a rare biological trait. They could manipulate energy fields. But most of her people had disappeared long ago during interstellar wars. She had been traveling alone when pirates attacked her transport. That was how she ended up in chains. Elias listened quietly. Then he told her his story. Former military engineer. Left the war after watching too many good people die. Now he worked as an independent cargo pilot. Simple jobs. Simple life. Or at least that was the plan. Lyra sat beside him in the cockpit one evening as stars drifted past the window. You could have left me there, she said softly. Yeah. Why didn't you? Elias leaned back in his chair. Because sometimes doing the right thing is expensive. Lyra tilted her head. Humans are strange. Tell me something I don't know. They both laughed. For the first time since the market, Lyra looked happy. But the galaxy rarely allowed happiness to last. 3 days later, trouble found them. The warning alarms blared suddenly. Elias jumped up. Incoming ship. The radar screen flashed red. Lyra looked worried. Pirates. Elias checked the signal signature. His expression darkened. Worse. The comm system crackled. A deep voice echoed through the cockpit. Cargo vessel silent horizon. Power down your engines. Lyra froze. I know that voice. Elias looked at her. Who? Her eyes filled with fear. The slaver who captured me. The radar showed a large cruiser approaching fast. Weapons armed. Elias cursed under his breath. That ship could tear us apart. Lyra grabbed his arm. He will take me back. Elias looked at her. Then he looked at the approaching warship. Then back at her. No. She blinked. No. He leaned forward in the pilot seat. Lyra, I didn't spend my last 100 credits just to give you back. The pirate cruiser opened fire. Laser blasts streaked past the ship. The silent horizon shook violently. Hold on, Elias shouted. He slammed the throttle forward. The old cargo ship roared to life, diving into a nearby asteroid field. Explosions echoed behind them. Lyra grabbed the console to stay steady. That ship is faster. Yeah, Elias said grimly. But I know something they don't.
What?
This ship may be slow. He pulled a hidden lever, but she's full of surprises. A hidden engine booster ignited. The ship shot forward between massive asteroids. The pirate cruiser struggled to follow, but it was too big, too slow. Finally,
boom.
The cruiser clipped an asteroid and spun out of control. Elias pushed the engines harder. Minutes later, the radar screen went silent. They were alone again. Lyra stared at him. You risked your life for me. Elias shrugged. Like I said, doing the right thing is expensive. Tears filled her violet eyes. You saved me. He smiled slightly. Nah. He gestured toward the endless stars ahead. I just gave you a second chance. Months passed. Lyra healed. Stronger. Confident. She learned how to repair engines, navigate star routes, and even pilot the ship. Elias discovered she was incredibly intelligent and surprisingly stubborn. The silent horizon slowly became something more than a cargo vessel. It became a home. One evening, Lyra stood beside Elias in the cockpit again, but this time, her eyes were bright with determination. I know where my people are. Elias raised an eyebrow. You found them? She nodded. There are survivors, hidden beyond the Orion expanse. Elias leaned back. That's a dangerous trip. I know. She looked at him. But I want to help rebuild my civilization. He studied her quietly. The frightened girl from the slave market was gone. In her place stood someone stronger. Someone brave. Elias smiled. Well, he stood up and walked toward the pilot controls. Guess we're changing our flight plan. Lyra blinked. He glanced back at her. You didn't think I'd let you go alone, did you? Her voice trembled slightly. You would leave everything to help me? Elias shrugged. I already changed your life. Then he grinned. Now, let's see if we can change a galaxy. Lyra smiled. And somewhere in the quiet darkness of space, hope was born again.